It's all about compassion, guys. It's all about compassion. Meow.
என் தோள்கள் மேலே வாலாட்டும் நாளே
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Peranbu is unlike any other film I've ever seen. It is an Indian Tamil language film that was written and directed by Ram, and it stars the great Mammootty as the single father Amudavan and Sadhana as his daughter Papa. The film had its world premiere already last year in January at the International Film Festival in Rotterdam, followed by the Asian premiere in June at the Shanghai International Film Festival. It was just now released in India and other territories, and if your local theater by any chance shows this film, don't hesitate for a second to check it out. It's a bold, powerful and passionate film that shatters boundaries and appeals to all our compassion and empathy as human beings without coming across as preachy or manipulative. The title Peranbu fittingly translates to compassion or great love, though it is also released under Resurrection internationally. The film tells the story of a single father who tries to understand the struggles of his disabled daughter. Now, going into the film, I already have heard of some glowing reviews, but from what I've known of the story and from what I've seen in the trailer, I was still a little bit hesitant and wary. The 14-year-old daughter Papa is suffering from the spastic disease, and putting such a disability front and center and very exposed and big close-ups in your film is normally very off-putting at first. On one hand, it's not easy to be confronted by it, but of course this shouldn't be an argument, because people should be confronted with things they are not familiar and not comfortable with to broaden their horizon and give them new perspectives. But it's also very difficult to find the right approach so that it doesn't come across as overtly sappy, manipulative or as an insulting caricature. On the other hand, a person is played by someone who's not affected by this condition in real life. So she's only playing, that's what actors do. But I think what is known as our suspension of disbelief, our notion to believe in the story and the characters we are seeing, is on a completely different level with something like this. To overcome our obstruction to see this not just as someone who is making faces isn't easy. With all that being said, the film and Sadhana's incredible performance pull it off, and I'm sure you will believe in the character. This is only her second feature film performance, but her first one was also directed by Ram, so they were already familiar with one another. And in her first film, Tangra Mingal from 2013, Ram wasn't just her director, but he was also the lead, and the story is not that far away from Peranbu. In that film, Ram himself played a poor man who wants his daughter to be happy, no matter what comes through. The relationship between Mammootty's character Amudavan and Sadhana's Papa is the heart and soul of the film, and the film is a beautiful poetic work in of itself. The story is told through the perspective of Amudavan, who is also the narrator. At the very beginning, he's almost directly approaching the audience when he's saying that he will talk about important moments and steps in his life together with his daughter. He leads us through the film, which is divided into 12 chapters, each one beginning with the statement, nature is ruthless, nature is miraculous, nature is endless, and so on, which establishes an idea for the context of each segment. But this doesn't mean the film is episodic. It more or less captures a large continuous portion of their lives, and yet the storytelling approach helps to see certain character developments and story progressions in a better light. Because I do think that some elements of the story and Amudavan's journey to become a more understanding, more empathetic father or more general, a better human being are happening a little bit fast. But when you think about Peranbu not just as a film, but also a film that presents its story through the recapitulation of this man, it's more understandable. It's not necessarily all exactly how it happened, but it's his retelling of his life. The subdivision into 12 chapters, of which some are very short, is also adding to the film's poetic nature. Peranbu feels like an epic and yet very intimate poem about life and about the human condition, a beautiful meditation about the world and nature, and of course we are part of that nature, and nature is so many things, as each new chapter is pointing out. The floating, graceful cinematography by Teni Yashwa is outstanding, not just in the film's first half, which takes place in this remote country house somewhere out in the untouched nature, but also later on when we share a tiny little apartment with Amudavan and his daughter, and also in the way the camera is capturing the faces of our protagonists and let them appear in all their human beauty, or cancel the human and let's just say the beauty of life, as the film is also eager to incorporate animals, little and big, into its narrative. Little birds waiting for their mother to feed them, a sparrow that got lost in the house, a horse that helps connect father and daughter, or a stray dog in the streets of Chennai. The images of Perambu are captivating, especially when you combine them with the lovely, celebrating musical score by composer Yuvan Shankar Raja. The editing by A. Surika Prasad is also a big contribution in the wonderful pace and rhythm of the film. There's an early sequence in which Papa isn't yet able to fully trust her father, and both are alternating hidden in the house and out in the open. It is just a little montage, but its effect is so fresh and uplifting, which is just perfect in a film that's so heavy by nature because of its topic matters. And the film is full of wondrous little moments and ideas that help father and daughter connect and help the audience to see the bigger picture as well. For example, at the beginning, Papa isn't able to count over 3 when she's trying to understand how many stars there are in the universe. But then Amudavan realizes that it's not that important, because no matter how far you can count, you simply can't count the sheer endless number of stars in the sky. And Mammootty gives a wonderful, restrained performance as the father. This is only my second exposure to Mammootty, who by the way must have discovered the fountain of youth, because there's no way that anyone could think that this man is already in his 60s. His screen presence is fantastic and he always illuminates warmth and kindness. He shows a lot of strength as he has to fight to make his daughter's life livable in a society that wants to put her down. Yet you can always feel his frailty as well, as he's on the brink of frustration and at the end of his powers. But with Mammootty and Sadhana being as great as they are, this still could have just been a rather simple film about a deeply affectionate relationship between a father and his disabled daughter, which is what I expected it to be. But Perambu goes far beyond that, challenging all kinds of social taboos, going to places almost no other film would dare going to. In the first half, Amudavan is taking his daughter to this remote place, and while it's very important for them to reconnect after he apparently spent most of his marriage far away in Dubai, it's also an attempt to hide her from the world, because he can't imagine a world that would embrace his daughter. And it's of course also easier for him not to deal with all those many obstacles that would come with them being in a big city. But that's where the film will go in its second half, and with it there comes a lot. Peranbu is a coming-of-age story, a story about a daughter with special needs, and the way her father isn't turning his back on all those difficulties and challenges that come with it is really heartwarming. By making the character a girl instead of a boy, they are forced to deal with a lot of social taboos. Papa is becoming a woman, but because of her condition she's completely dependent on the help of others. And right now there's only her father. And when you just thought the film is already brave and thought-provoking enough, it doesn't go one step but several steps further. And while there are certainly people in the film that act in despicable ways, nobody is portrayed just as an evil movie stereotype, which again helps that the film doesn't feel like a cheap tug at your heartstrings. Even the circumstance that Papa's mother has left him doesn't come across in a way that will stir simple, hateful feelings towards her. Perambu's characters, their struggles and emotions, it all feels sincere and just human. In the second half, Amudavan meets Mira, who is a sex worker and also a trans woman. Mira is portrayed by Anjali Amir, a transsexual model from Kerala, who makes her feature film debut. Like Papa and her father, she's an outsider, a social outcast. Yet the film never treats her in any demeaning fashion. On the contrary, she becomes another strong character whose beauty, both on the in and on the outside, is wonderfully brought to the screen. Perambu is a deeply compassionate film and I can't recommend it enough. So in German I'd say, Perambu ist ein unglaublich mutiger, schöner und wegweisender Film. Mammootty gibt eine grandiose Darstellung und Regisseur Ram ist ein echter Kinopoet. I give Perambu 9 out of 10. It's more like 8.6, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Peranbu. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at the Jimmy Cage. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.